Roger Grein represents, in my view, the very best of this community. The very best of this community in terms of his commitment to reach beyond himself on behalf of generations that he'll never meet and generations still unborn who will benefit from the legacy that he's creating.
Roger Grein, a truly amazing person. His life has been one of hard work and struggle, of service and giving back, and of empowering others to do more. This small-town boy who struggled to walk and talk became a wealthy businessman and gave his fortune away every year to those in need. His vision for philanthropy empowers thousands of young people through Magnified Giving, where they learn the value of giving of their time, talent, and treasure to help others in need. This is his story. Roger Grein was born in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1942 to a young, unwed mother who considered abortion before changing her mind and placing him up for adoption. At 6 months of age, he was adopted by Frank and Thelma Grein.
Thelma always wanted a child.
She waited 8 years.
And she could never have one.
8 years.
Then when she found out that he was adoptable, so she went to St. Joseph's.
And I remember them telling me later on in my life that they were so excited that they stayed up all night to look at my pretty blue eyes.
Frank was fighting in World War II when Thelma learned Roger had a disability caused by a birth injury, what we now know as cerebral palsy. The doctors told Thelma that her son was unlikely to ever walk or talk.
He started walking funny, and his speech was a little bit slurred and that. So all his neighbors and family said, take him back, he's like damaged goods. And she said, never, I will not.
Thelma instilled in Roger a can-do attitude about life, hard work, and making it on his own. He began investing his mower boy earnings in local stocks, quietly building his wealth.
You know, I was in high school and I thought to myself, what do people do with money? And I said, I bet you they invest in stocks and bonds. I invested in local companies where I knew something about. Look at that. I bought more stocks. Look at that, I was making money. 3,000, 1966, Honeywell, 7,000. Look at that. 100 shares in May department store, 5,000.
Owning his own business set up the opportunity for another amazing chapter in his life, a 36-year coaching career leading girls softball teams to world championships and travels around the globe.
One evening I was watching our church team play softball. It was St. James of Wyoming. It was a girls' high school slow pitch. And the team was so poor that after we won the game, the coach quit. And one of the girls came up to me, Ian Lichtenberg, the shortstop, and asked me if I wanted to help out. And I said, sure. So I became the real coach and the real manager. And I loved it. And that was June of '64. I can remember that like today over at Grove Field in Wyoming.
He did it out of his love for youth. He just wanted to do something that kept growing and getting better and better and better.
There's a car dealership in town called Sweeney Chevrolet. And Jake Sweeney was the owner of Sweeney Chevrolet. And his daughter Mary played on the team, played first base. So the next year, 1971, I kept the players together and we became known as Sweeney. And he helped sponsor the team.
Roger's business and reputation grew throughout the years. The boy whose mother was told he would never walk or talk had quietly become a millionaire many times over. Guided by his faith, Roger chose to lead a simple life and to help others at every opportunity. He attended daily Mass, and his faith in prayer guided his decisions. He gave away his money anonymously every year to those in need and never asked for anything in return.
All my life, I've had a tendency to be aware of the needs of other people. And so as my investments increased over the years, I was able to help more other causes out. So I got a big kick out of helping. And I did everything unanimously. In other words, for about 20 or 30 years, I would just go over to my church and and put the money into their accounts and maybe write 200 checks every December, and nobody ever knew where it was coming from because it came from the church.
By the early 2000s, Roger Grein was worth over $7 million and was giving substantially to charities every year. He funded many groups through his local church. He gave back to orphanages in Mexico. He funded several Habitat for Humanity homes and donated his childhood home in Lockland, where he had lived for 75 years, to the Habitat for Humanity cause. But he wanted to do more, to give back to the community that had supported him. And one day, over lunch with a friend, this vision for the next chapter in his life became clear.
About a year or two before I met Roger, I met Neil Mayerson, who at that time was leading the Mayerson Foundation. And Neil has similar interests. Neil and I began talking about whether we might create a program called a student philanthropy project that would convene students as nonprofit boards for the purpose of investing in their community. Neil got very excited about that and said, let's give it a try. Well, in describing this to Roger, he just got terribly excited about it because it built on what is fundamental to Roger: his generosity, his sense of purpose, his commitment to others, his persistence, his understanding of what makes a community special. And so he began to think about, how could I take this idea and expand it beyond NKU to other universities? And of course, he just took this idea and put it on steroids.
Well, I walked away with that, and, whew, what a great idea. Because every year, December, I struggle every year, not whether to help out, but who to help. Do you help the people here over the line that's hungry, or do you go to Africa or the poor people around the world? You know, do you educate the youth, or do you give to the poor? So I struggle every year, not whether to write the check, but who to give it to. And I thought to myself, boy, if I could get the young people involved, boy, maybe there'll be someday a little Roger out there. Wouldn't it be a neat thing to do? And I thought, well, boy, they could give back the time, talents, and treasures if they involved with something like that and have to go through the same disciplines that I have to do every year as far as who to give to.
From that fateful lunch, the seed had been planted, and Roger Grein set out on his greatest adventure, sharing his vision of philanthropy, giving of your time, talent, and treasure with anyone who would listen.
So my dream is to reach out to other people, other people embrace the mission. It's not Roger's anymore. I'm handing the keys over to the younger generation. I'm handing the keys over, empowering the young people so they can be little Rogers and give back. So that's the emphasis, is turn it over to other people so they believe in the mission, so they'll continue it when I'm not here someday.
Roger has successfully brought together 3 important sectors of the community: education, business, and charities, to serve all who are in need. And by empowering the next generation to do this at a younger age, he is planting the seeds for stronger communities in the future. This is Roger's legacy, and now the legacy of tens of thousands of young people, the next generation of philanthropists. Roger Grein, truly a man for others, a force for good, and an empowering philanthropist.